ridiculous. Remember, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended State's Attorney Monique Worrell because he felt that she was not prosecuting folks enough. So what did he do? He put in place a judge to be the state's attorney, an African-American judge. Well, he's come in and fired Worrell's top two deputies and literally walked them out the door when she was replaced. Now he's fired the chief of staff to Monique Worrell, which is absolutely crazy. She's been actually out on leave. Law enforcement literally visited her home. That's how she found out that she was fired. Joining us right now is Keisha Mulfort, who was the former chief of staff to Monique Worrell. She joins us right now. Glad to have you here. So, I mean, this is absolutely crazy. So you were not in the office when this took place a couple of days ago, correct?
That's correct. I've been out on FMLA since May 30th. I just had a...
you said FMLA. So
yeah.
For folks who don't know what that is, explain that.
So I just had a baby, so the federal government allows me time to stay home with my child and, you know, bond with my child and nurse my child. And while I was out, I was fired. And this is supposed to be a protected.
Right. Yeah, my understanding, when you're on FMLA, they can't move against you. They can't fire you. So you literally were fired?
So deputies, armed law enforcement officers, deputies from the Orange County Sheriff's Office came to my home with armed investigators from our office, and they wanted me to give them passwords that they already had to social media and to provide them with access to social media. They wanted me to transfer. I created all of our social media pages, so they wanted me to give them my phone so they could transfer everything over. And they left a sheet of paper, and on the sheet of paper, that's how I found out I was terminated. No one verbally told me I was terminated. I found out with the document that they left at my home.
So there's Andrew Bain. He is the person DeSantis appointed. He made the decision to fire you.
That is correct. And so Andrew Bain.
You weren't called. Let's be clear. You weren't called. They left you a sheet of paper. They didn't even say. They didn't explain it to you. They just simply left the sheet of paper and you read it. That's how you found out.
Ryan Williams, the person who lost to State Attorney Monique Worrell in 2020, is his number 2. Ryan Williams called me on Wednesday requesting social media passwords. I asked Ryan if he were asking me to perform work duties while I was out on FMLA. I received an email about 45 minutes later from General Counsel demanding I contact Ryan Williams by 9:00 a.m. Thursday morning. An attorney reached out to them to let them know, contact me, I will work everything out. No communication with my attorney, no communication with me. 4 o'clock, I'm nursing my daughter, and they're at my home telling me to come outside.
Wait, I'm sorry. So, first of all, how many law enforcement officers showed up at your home?
So there was a new public information officer, 2 sworn investigators from the office, and 2 armed deputies from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So 4 law enforcement officials came to my home. So
5 people in total came to your home. They come to your home and they asked you to step outside?
Well, they asked me to bring my phone so that they can go in my phone and switch over everything. So they're still operating under the guise as if I'm still under FMLA. So they're like, if you can't do it, we will do it. This entire time, I had been terminated the day before.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is, it's not like they knocked on your door and they said, Ms. Mulfort, this is who we are. Can we please come in and talk with you? They didn't do that. No. They asked you to step outside. What happened? They treat you like...
They asked me to come to the door. So I was upstairs. And I was not going to come downstairs. I was nursing. So I was like, no, you need to contact my attorney. So they continued to ask me to come down.
Wow. So are they talking to you on the phone, on the ring? So how are they communicating with you?
So when they were communicating with a friend. And then I came down. When I came down, I just saw the 3 people from the office who I knew. And then following that, once I told them that they needed to reach out to my attorney if they desired anything from me, that's when the law enforcement officers from the sheriff's office came from around the corner. They were hiding. One of them being extremely antagonistic, telling me that an attorney doesn't matter. An attorney doesn't matter in this situation. I tell them I'm home with my 10-week-old daughter. He tells me that that doesn't excuse the fact that you need to give them their social media rights or property or whatever he said.
I saw a post earlier today on social media showing that they have created a new website for the office, and they said the site was registered back in January.
So that was our website. I worked with our MIS team. That was the State Attorney Monique Worrell's website that we were going to roll out, and we had not had an opportunity to roll out. They've since gone in and they've made changes to that website. But that is a website that we were supposed to be moving to while we were still in office.
So just to be clear, so Monique Worrell beats this guy, Ryan Williams. My understanding, he came in fourth, and he's now the number 2 in charge. So he couldn't beat her, so he was lying in wait, and DeSantis has put the person who she beat in charge.
That is accurate information. Ryan Williams had about 9,000 votes in probably his third bid at running for state attorney. Yes.
Let's talk about Andrew Bain. So he has canceled all of the diversionary programs that Worrell had in place. I saw a tweet from Nikki Barnes saying he actually campaigned and ran on those same programs for judge.
I went to law school at FAMU with Andrew Bain. To say this is disappointing is beyond me. Andrew Bain not only ran on that platform, there's records of it. There are records of him talking about the diversion programs. He also infiltrated the Black and Brown events, the Black and Brown community, so that we could support him. And with the emphasis that we only had one Black male on a bench. So despite, anything that, like, we gave him, like, okay, he had his first go round, it was rough. So we were giving him another chance. He infiltrated these events. He said the correct words. He was trying to convince us that, he had changed and he was going to do right, and the community supported him. This is the same person who on April 1st was at my baby shower. He came to my baby shower and didn't even say, Keisha, I can't keep you because DeSantis doesn't want you or anything. This is someone who I've gone out with him, State Attorney Monique Worrell, like we've done events with him, community events, our Bring a Child to Work Day. We invite him in. We invited him to our office for several opportunities, and this is the man who betrayed us.
Wow. Have you talked to other staffers in the office who are still there? Are they afraid that they're going to get fired as well? Anybody who was supportive of Monique Worrell is going to be canned?
It seems that people are extremely afraid that they will be terminated, yes. And wow. I don't know how it's going to happen. We already had a staffing shortage. I don't know how they do that and still protect the community, but it's going to be a problem that they're going to have to figure out.
So what is next steps for you? I mean, obviously, do you plan to sue them? Again, everything that I know about Family Medical Leave Act, they can't terminate you when you're on Family Medical Leave Act.
So I'm going to let the legal team figure that out, see what my options are, and we're going to go from there.
And just like Monique Worrell, here you are with a 10-week-old baby, and now you have no source of income.
And no health insurance. My child hasn't even received all of her shots that she needs. So in this pro-life state.
So by being fired, your insurance is cut off immediately?
No, it will be gone within the next month and a half.
Unbelievable.
I lose it next month, and I haven't even finished with her shots or anything. I will lose it next month.
Ms. Mulfort, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Keep us abreast of what happens next.
Thank you.
Going to a break. We'll talk about this with my panel on the flip side. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network, live from Birmingham, Alabama. on Audible. My panel today, Michael Imhotep, host the African History Network show. He's out of Detroit. Matt Manning, civil rights attorney out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Teresa Lundy, principal founder of TML Communications out of Philadelphia. Matt, I got to start with you. I mean, this shows you the vindictiveness, the pettiness, how shameful and disgraceful Governor Ron DeSantis is. And they have been plotting this. Worrell was elected by nearly 67% of the vote. She crushed all of her opponents. And he says, oh, this is to protect Central Floridians. They voted for her. And then you fire her top 2 deputies and you fire her chief of staff who's on Family Medical Leave Act. That's an automatic lawsuit.
Yeah, it's to me, it's insane that they went that route, number one. And it's also insane that the state of Florida has the power vested in the governor to undo elections. As I've mentioned on the show before, I'm representing our local DA in a very similar situation where under Texas law, he's facing a lawsuit to be removed. He's a part of a group of progressive prosecutors across the country who have come in with diversionary programs and other things intended to make life better for citizens. Irrespective of all of that, the idea that a governor can not like what you're doing, can castigate you, and then just remove you from duly elected office should terrify all of us, because democracy and federalism beyond democracy is important to have a check on unchecked power, i.e. Ron DeSantis. So the idea that in Florida you can just dislike somebody, you can come up with, aspersions about their data, you can lie about it, then you can remove them and they don't have any real recourse, nor do the voters, is a huge problem. Because when you're dictatorial, like Ron DeSantis is, and when you're trying to vie for maybe a vice presidency now because your presidential bid is obviously in the trash can, then it becomes obvious that you'll take whatever measure you can to advance your policy. And that's really what should be the scariest part of this now. Ms. Mulfort and all of the people who are, collateral damage to that, I feel for greatly, and I hope she's victorious in her lawsuit, and I anticipate they didn't think through how to attack this with her discrete employment issue. But the larger conversation is, how do you have it where people are casting votes in an election and one person can decide they don't like the victor of that election and remove him or her?
Right.
That really does not bode well for democracy.
Teresa, look, they could show up and they can say, hey, we know you're on Family Medical Leave Act. We need the passwords, things along those lines. All right. You know what? The law is the law. Bain is now taking over. You can do that. But to hand her a letter saying she's fired, I mean, this is basic law. You don't do that to somebody who's on FMLA. And how in the hell do you call yourself pro-lifers when you got a black woman who just had a baby, 10 weeks old, and you fire her, no health care, she's going to lose that. I mean, these people are evil.
Governor DeSantis is staying on message. We have seen these same unfortunate tactics, and it's just gotten worse. Monique is a friend, and, I'm definitely praying for this situation. But also the real understanding here is that we have a governor who is basically telling the public that I am willing to do whatever in order to get to the next point in public office. We all know, Mike Pence decided he wasn't going to overturn an election, and Ron DeSantis basically proved to his base, his fundraising base, that this is one of the things he is going to do. As governor, he's showing you what he's going to do as president. He has a failing campaign. He has a failing, governorship. And so, unfortunately, the people that are being, prosecuted in this process is the ones that are actually doing the work, is the real change agents. And so I'm not really surprised, but it is unfortunate. And I think, to my brother's point, it is, a smack in democracy. As we, talk about week after week, month after month, year after year, about how important elections are. This has been not only a wake-up call only in Florida. These individuals have been trying to do the same thing with the same progressive district attorney, DA, that we have in Philadelphia over, into the Supreme Court. But because elections matter and we have a Democratic governor that is focused on making sure that the rights of people are not only protected, but also, keep us safe, here in this country. So, again, Monique is dealing with an uphill battle, but I'm also very happy that, Ron DeSantis is doing exactly what Ron DeSantis do. And the reason why I say that is because as we look at a holistic approach of how do we get these insane politicians out who are only looking for greed and power in areas that affect people of color and affect the entire minority, we already see the issue at hand that needs to be changed.
Mike, I want to go back to one of the points that Matt was making here, and that is one person decides, I don't like your policies, you're out. Georgia also, Republicans there passed a law trying to allow them to do the exact same thing. This is what Republicans do. They don't believe all this crap about big government, big brother. No, they only care about that when they are not in charge. And so for him to sit here and to say, well, she wasn't following the law, she has the discretion to determine what she prosecutes. Voters chose that. He's saying, the hell with you voters, I'm the one who decides what happens in this state. This is beyond shameful.
Yeah, Roland, is beyond shameful, but it's even worse because Andrew Bain is a member of the Federalist Society. So once I found that out, everything else pretty much fell in the law. He's an African-American man, but he's a member of the Federalist Society. So he is aiding and abetting this takeover that Governor Ron DeSantis is doing. This is straight out of white supremacy, and it's not surprising coming from Ron DeSantis. The Andrew Gillum tried to warn us in 2018. Okay, unfortunately, not a lot of people listened in Florida to stop Governor DeSantis when Andrew Gillum said, I'm not saying he's a racist, I'm saying the racists believe he's a racist. So, she definitely has a lawsuit here. It sounds like a definite violation of the Family Medical Leave Act, Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA. But something else that I found out from Florida 24 when they ran their story on this. Now, the state Senate has the final vote. The state Senate in Florida has the final vote. But they said, the head of the state Senate said that they would not investigate Governor Ron DeSantis' executive order until Keisha Mulfort has exhausted all of her legal options, which, I mean, is that proper protocol, Roland, or anybody, Matt? Is that proper protocol to wait until she's exhausted her legal options for the state Senate to investigate?
Hell no, it's just Florida. No, it's just Florida making up as they go along. That's what Florida's doing.
Yeah, and now this shows the power of the state legislature, which is also a check on the governor. Okay, and we know the state legislature, we know, is dominated by Republicans, controlled by Republicans. But you go back to 2018 when Desmond Meade and others got the initiative on the ballot to restore voting rights to over 1 million former felons in Florida. Then that passed about 66% of the vote, something like this, right? Which goes back to, just so people understand, Florida's 1868 state constitution, which created the felony disenfranchisement law in the first place, where you lost your right to vote because you had a felony, and it was targeting African Americans, former slaves. But then the state legislature comes back and adds another law saying you have to pay all your fines and restitution, things like this. They put all these other stipulations because they are afraid of African Americans voting. They fear our political power. This is why this is a battle over power. And these crazy people, we have to vote out of office, even if they're African American.
Folks, y'all can sit here and talk about voting is not important. Then this is the kind of crap that happens.
What's up, everyone? Join me Saturdays, August 12th, August 19th, and August 26th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for exciting sessions of my 12-week online history course, Ancient Kemet, one of the original names for Egypt, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Register at my website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. I'm historian Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show, founder of the African History Network. You see me on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You see me in other media appearances. This is a 12-week online history course that I teach. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We'll look at ancient African civilizations and empires like ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Nubia, Ta-Nehesi, Ethiopia. We'll look at Carthage and the Punic Wars and Hannibal Barca. and fighting against the Romans and the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC. We'll look at the lost cities of Egypt, of Tanis Heracleon and dazzling Aten. We'll look at archaeological discoveries that show an African presence in the Americas dating back at least 51,700 years ago. Did you know that the Washington Monument was actually an ancient African symbol of resurrection that comes from the story of Osar, Auset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus? Did you know that the layout of Washington, D.C. is based upon the layout of ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet? We'll also deal with evidence proving that the ancient Egyptians were black Africans. We'll look at films like Black Panther and The Woman King and deal with the African cultural influences that we see represented in these movies, as well as the Queen Cleopatra installment from the Netflix series directed by Jada Pinkett Smith. We'll look at the impact that Christopher Columbus had on the transatlantic slave trade and how Columbus is crucial to understanding the expansion of the transatlantic slave trade, and he helped lay the foundation for slavery, racism, capitalism, and the exploitation of indigenous people. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, and register for this 12-week online course. We look at 80 to 100 articles. There's about 7 to 8 books that we reference. We show you the text of the book that we're referencing as well on the screen, so you don't have to buy any of these books if you don't want to. Right now, let's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. This content is PG-13, so you can use it with your children as well.